Welcome to my YouTube channel, Living in the Chicagoland Suburbs. Today we're going to talk about living here and what sort of entertainment and what sort of enjoyment you can have from the city and its contents, as opposed to buying or selling real estate here. We're going to assume that you're living here, and now you want to know what to do while you're living here. The city boasts many fine things that any large city would do. New York with its theater section, Paris with its museums and the Eiffel Tower, etc. Chicago has many of those things. Certainly we don't rival the Louvre or the Prado in Spain, but we do have a strong museum contingent here in the city of Chicago. Nearby, in certain suburbs and around the city itself. One of the big areas in the city itself is on the lakefront, and it's the museum campus that houses numerous museums or places of interest. There is the planetarium, which of course is the study of stars and regularly has programs, the most recent of course being the eclipse, and how to watch it, and etc. Also on that museum campus there is the Shad Aquarium, and it is a marvelous dolphin show, trained dolphins, etc. In the museum there's a contingent of beluga whales that you can see up close and personal when you go down into below their tank. The museum campus sports many different things. One of the others is a very famous field museum of natural history. They have enter the lobby of the main floor of the museum, the field museum, you'll life-size replica of the skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus Rex dinosaur. It's the lions of Africa, were man-eating lions, a pair. And they have those lions in exhibit in a taxidermy. You have all of these in one central location. You park your car once and you can walk to all of these various museums and sites. The planetarium, the aquarium, the field museum, etc. Another major area of the city, well, let's stay with the museums for a moment. If you go to the south side of the city, down near Hyde Park and near the University of Chicago, and where the soon-to-be Obama presidential library will be found, you'll find the Museum of Science and Industry, and a delightful museum that investigates the various science issues, certainly mechanical issues, etc. There's a replica of a coal mine. You take an elevator down into the bowels of the museum, and you go on a little tour of what it must have been like to work and move around in a subterranean coal mine. Up on the main floor, there's a marvelous model train arrangement that must be it must be several thousand square feet of track and little mountain areas, trains going through tunnels, seaports, what the trains do, how they offload the carts. Not carts. Anyhow, just a marvelous. You can go down and get up close and personal to it. The trains will run by inches away from your face, or you can stay up on a mezzanine area and look down on the whole play below you, and it's really quite a spectacular thing. And then at Christmas time they have various decorated in the style of the countries throughout the world, and that's so that on the holidays it's a delightful place to go. In fact, on the Thanksgiving Day holiday, the museum is free. I think it's the only day during the year that you can enter it free and see the exhibits at no charge. I recall my family and I would prepare the whole Thanksgiving dinner the day before, and then we would all go to the museum on that Thursday morning, spend the whole day there, leave the city around 3 in the afternoon, come home and have a marvelously microwaved dinner with all the fixins, turkey and dressing and gravy, etc. So the museums of Chicago are quite exciting. There's the Museum of Contemporary Art, and it's in the heart of the city. There's the Dry House Museum, which is a a small museum. You probably wouldn't read about it anywhere in travel magazines, etc. But if you live in the city and you go to the Dry House, it's the Dry House Mansion, and in it they have a marvelous collection of art, and currently they're displaying over 200 pieces of jewelry from the 19th century, and it's some of that owned by the Dry House family, and others of it being displayed. Many of these pieces have never been in public, seen in public before. So that's the sort of thing that you find at the Dry House. We haven't even mentioned the gem of museums certainly in the Chicago area, and that would be, of course, the Art Institute of Chicago, which has a marvelous, probably the second best Impressionist collection of painters and paintings in the world. The Louvre, of course, having outmatched us quite noticeably. So you have all of these locations in the city itself. You can go out into the various suburbs, go to Union, Illinois, and go to the Illinois Railway Museum. It's a delightful museum. There's countless cars that you can go into. They're in a housed circumstance. There's a replica diner there that goes back probably to the 20s. And you can actually have lunch there. It's a little, almost a little bit a village to itself. And you can take a train ride. There's a couple of them. You can get a steam engine or a diesel engine. You take a trolley to the depot and hop a train and go for a 35 or 45-minute ride. Oh, I also should mention, there's the Volo Museum. It's a car museum, and it has everything in there from Batmobile to cars from the 20s all the way up into the modern sports car era. And they've got a couple of, I'm going to say they're a little cheesy, but maybe not. For the kids, there's a dinosaur collection, and it's, it'll be fine for the children. Then let's see if there's any other. I didn't mention in the Willis Tower, which used to be the old Sears Tower. I'm surprised I remembered to call it the Willis Tower. There is the sky deck that is open to the public. I think there's a charge for that. I don't know. I don't think it's exorbitant. But you step out of the building onto a glass platform. I'm sure it's probably plexiglass, and you're surrounded above, below, and all around, and it goes around the building with clear plexiglass or glass, whatever the case may be, and you step out. I don't know if I have the courage to do so, but you step out onto this thing and you look down and you look over there. There's nothing obstructing your view of the view of the city. So if you're up for a little bit of a challenge and a little excitement in the midday of your trip to the city, why go to the Willis Tower and give them a few shekels and step out on the scary glass platform. Let's see if I can think of anything else. I think that pretty much hits the museum issues, and certainly the Willis Tower is a extra added attraction. There are a number of added attractions that you'll find at Navy Pier, which used to be a pier in which ships came up from the south, barges and cargo ships would come up to the city of Chicago via Lake Michigan, and they would pull into the Navy Pier, and on one side of the pier, which juts out into the lake, one side of the pier they offloaded their cargoes and put them into warehouses with large doors on the side of the Navy Pier, and then the various purveyors would come in on the other side of the pier and open the hatches there and take-float the products and cargo and whatever the produce might have been delivered by the cargo ships and barges, and they'd load them onto their trucks and take them out to wherever they were going, the restaurants or markets or whatever the case might be. That no longer exists because we've got much more sophisticated delivery systems, but they've converted the entire Navy Pier into a place of attractions. There are several restaurants there. I call Bubba Forest Park, what is it? Forest's Bubba Shrimp Company has a restaurant there. There are a variety of children's museum. I should mention that inside the confines of the Navy Pier. A few food courts with Garrett's Popcorn and Long Grove Confectionery. There used to be an IMAX theater there. I'm not too certain if it's been in a couple of years. Also, there is the Centennial Wheel there, which is a huge Ferris wheel that finds itself on the property, and you pay for that, and you get into a gondola-like car, and you ride up and over like a typical Ferris wheel. These things seem to have become popular. I know one in London and in the States. Found on a variety of things in Navy Pier. I mentioned the Children's Museum. There's a great deal of artwork and stained glass collection there. It's a hiding place. So these are some of the attractions that you'll find in Chicagoland. If you live in the suburbs, you can get out to the Illinois Rail Museum. You can go to Starved Rock. There is a location headed west from the city and even the suburbs. It's a good day trip for you to go to Starved Rock. There's a tremendous camping, and it certainly, I'm sure, doesn't match the Joshua Tree in California, but it is the outdoors, and as long as the weather's cooperating, why, you can enjoy a great campsite, and so that gets you into what it's like to live in and around the Chicagoland area. We're going to continue this chapter and talk to you a little bit about the theater world here in Chicagoland and various other sites for you to see while you are living here in the city, or even if you're just a casual visitor from another major city in America or Europe for that matter. So I thank you for listening to me this day. If you have any questions regarding any of the topics that we talked about today, any of the places, or you're interested in some honest-to-God real estate questions, why, please feel free to call me at 847-651-2582. If you found this channel interesting and you learned something of value, and please hit the subscribe button and join me in the future. I look forward to seeing you. Thanks, and have a nice day. Stay safe.